Have you ever wondered how your dinner was made, specifically the meat portion? I went to Van's Warped Tour in Virginia Beach at the amphitheater and introduced to an organization known as PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, an animal rights activist, a little bit crazy, but an organizer who emphasizes veganism and ending animal cruelty through research, protesting, and education. They have a few main avenues which they focus on for trying to eliminate animal cruelty: laboratory testing, food, clothing, and entertainment through celebrities. Now, they showed me a video of a baby pig being cut into pieces and then hung upside down to bleed out in a factory, stripped of its baby back ribs and back fat, which, if you didn't know, was used to make bacon. And then it was thrown into a shredder like a piece of trash. Thrown away. And then they ruined hot dogs for me. They told me that hot dogs are made of leftovers, lips, butts, and everything else that's not used, such as the leftover bones, and then it's grounded into a paste, squirted into a wiener shape, and then wrapped. And they put it in a container and they sell it to you. Now, why should we support PETA and our animals? If we don't try to help end animal cruelty, then animals will continue to suffer. There are many animals being hurt or mistreated, not even specifically farm animals. Even dogs are hurt or abused by misguided children, maybe hitting them a little too hard or spanking them because they think they're excited. Then the dog bites the kid on accident, and then the dog looks bad because the dog's abusive and the dog's aggressive, like a pit bull who's just a little too excited and he's nibbling on you. So now he's got to get euthanized because he did something wrong, but it was just, not being trained properly. In Korea, it's even weird. Sometimes they will eat dogs and cats. It's a delicacy for them to have your best friend be eaten for dinner. Instead of inviting him over, you eat him. And have you ever wondered how you got Uggs or your leopard skin clothing? Well, a statistical fact is that millions of sheep are castrated, i.e. their testicles and penises are cut off, and then their tails are cut off with no painkillers, like going to the dentist without getting a shot in your mouth. And then they're slaughtered for their skin. And those statistics were provided by PETA. Have you ever wondered how they tested makeup or got your vaccinations for your measles or rabies? Well, it has to come from somewhere, right? It used to be when they made makeup, they used whale blubber from sperm whales. The fluid contained in the organ of the whale's head was removed to obtain crude sperm oil. And they used to think it was like sperm of whales, but that's just kind of goofy. Provided by Britannics. And then they killed the whale since there was no use for the meat or anything. But that population was starting to drop, so they made whales more endangered, and that's why you can't hunt them, and it's illegal now to go whale hunting, like Mr. Dickey throwing his spear. Although some people still do it. Now, how are we going to do this? How can we prevent suffering and support PETA? Well, there's some ways we can support animal cruelty and stopping it. One way is to buy ethically sourced products, such as Sephora makeup, which is sold in Macy's, which is specifically stated on some of their packages not tested on animals. So just by getting that super expensive pretty makeup, hey, you're supporting your favorite animal friends. You can also support by eating food that is cruelty-free, such as cage-free chickens. This means that the animal was raised in a farm and allowed them to roam and walk around. They weren't stuck in a cage all day. Like, if you've ever seen an animal rights video, you'll see that mostly on farms, animals like chickens and stuff, they're all corralled in a small booth, all on top of each other. Food is thrown in there, and they all just basically eat each other, and they just live in a cage their entire life. Never walked around before. Kind of a depressing life, right? You can also try to be a vegan, which is defined as a dietary lifestyle in which you eat no animal products. So no milk, eggs, butter. Technically, butter has animal fat. None of that stuff. No meat, only can eat vegetables and nuts and grains, stuff like that. So it's kind of a radical lifestyle, but it's also healthy to get away from all the chemicals and lifestyle. So it's also a positive thing. And then you can adopt animals from kill shelters because after a certain amount of time, they're just euthanized. And the poor animals get put to sleep because nobody adopted them. That's not fair. That's like being an orphan and not having a family. So you're like, oh, you know what? We're just going to get rid of you. Last, you can support human testing of drugs and vaccinations. And even the FDA has tried to reduce it because it's important to kill and test on non-humans because they're not as important as a human being, right? Okay, so the FDA said they've even supported efforts in reducing animal testing. Manufacturers or sponsors are required to follow FDA regulations, good laboratory practice for non-clinical laboratory studies. 21 CFR Part 58. FDA supports the use of independent animal care and use of committees, AUC, for laboratory studying animals. Basically, they support it as long as it's privately funded and you're not using illegal ways. Also, you can just donate money because money is great. I mean, you can buy a lot of stuff with money, including protests, education booths, and you can free animals. You can just buy them so they don't get misabused. So wouldn't it be great to go to Walmart, King Soopers, or wherever you buy groceries and just pay an extra few cents for eggs and think, wow, I just helped a few chickens have a happy life. You could also just be a humble person. Keep eating your grade A chickens from Walmart and not worry about the animals. Let someone else deal with it, right? But it's super important to help end animal cruelty. If you don't decide to go full vegan, just buy locally sourced foods. I couldn't have a better statement than one by PETA. I can't think of any other reason in the world to stand in 90-degree weed than with 10,000 teenage fans.